Hi, I'm Ann Weiser Cornell, and this is our ongoing series of support for stressful times. Gosh, I wanted to take a little time and count how many of these we've been doing. It began in March, and it feels like something that I've been really finding valuable, to be able to spend time connecting, helping other people connect. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, we started on March 18th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is our 9th. Some of you have been here for many of those, all of those, and some people are new here today, and you're tuning in and you're wanting to get some support for stressful times. And the way I like to start is to pause and connect, grounding with your body right now, and also connect with some of the resources that are all around us. And I turned my camera today so you can see out my window, because one of the resources that's such a great gift and so reliable is nature. And here where I live, it's springtime. So join me in just taking a little time to feel your body, your whole body, resting on what you're sitting on, or you could be standing or lying down, but just you're slowing down to feel your body more and more. And to feel especially those places where you're touching something, where your feet are touching, your buttocks, your back, arms. You know, that sensation of contact gives a kind of grounding feeling. And this is something you can do anytime, all day long, that you need a bit of extra connection with yourself, grounding, centering, feeling your breathing as well. And including in your awareness the inner area of your body, so that inner area, including your throat, your chest, stomach, belly area. Breathing, slowing down. The slower we go, the more we're connected to our body and to our source of resilience. So I'm even speaking more slowly to give you the feel of that. You know, and I know when I get more anxious, I kind of speed up. I talk faster. I can feel my heartbeat faster. That's okay. We can say hello to those feelings. And we can also choose to slow down, just as we're doing right now. And let's do one more thing while we're still in this grounding process. And that is, remember a time recently that you could experience some of nature. Maybe you took a walk, or maybe you've got a window you can look at it. Maybe you've got a house plant that you can smile at. And notice how even right now, the memory of your walk outside, it can give you this something, right? What happens when you remember being in nature? Maybe you saw something beautiful. Maybe you heard a bird sing. Maybe you paused to enjoy a squirrel or a lizard. And you remember it now. Notice what happens. Yes. Yeah. Jan says, Michigan today is a place of gentle spring rain. Oh, good. Very nice. Yeah. And David says, it's hard to slow down if I'm thinking of all the things I need to do today. Yeah, but you're not doing them right now. So hello to the part of you that feels the need to think about those things. And feel your body. Nice. Very nice. You know, I wanted to talk today about what it's like to be, 9 weeks into this health crisis. And in some cases, it's been longer. In some cases, it's been shorter. But whenever you became aware of it, where you live started having life change, it's probably been about 9 weeks or so. How are you now with it having gone on that long? And how are you now with how it looks from this spot, this moment in time, May 14th? Some people are talking, and where I live, people are talking about opening things up, and I can tell that something in me feels scared about that. So we can also pause just to notice and acknowledge, how is that for you? I've talked before in these webinars about how our external events do not cause our feelings, they merely contribute. So I read the paper every day. I've done that already today. I've had my dose of what's going on out there. And after I do that, I pause and just, say hello to the different reactions that got stirred up in me. But it's never that causes the feelings. It's that plus me, plus what it means to me, my history. And that's so nice. I really appreciate being able to do that, being able to say, yeah, I'm not at the mercy of what goes on around me. I'm contributing. So let me see what people are writing in the chat, and do let me know if you have, questions or things you want me to talk about today. Yes. This seems to have become the new normal. Yeah. Somebody writes, very tired emotionally. Oh, I'm surprised at how tired I am so much of the time. Are there people feeling that way too? Feels like I'm doing less physically, but that there's something about the emotional, mental stress that's really tiring for me. Betty writes, I'm feeling space disoriented. And do send your chat to all panelists and attendees. It's a little choice you have to make before you type in the chat. It'll stay that way. Dinah is saying, it's taken a month for me to realize that I was not my depression and anxiety, and to find my footing in nature and in breathing. I celebrate with you, Dinah. That's great. I love that phrase, find my footing. So beautiful. And Carol writes, I haven't read or watched the news in weeks. That seems like a very self-loving choice to make. I appreciate that. Yeah, Amy writes, something in me feels I've forgotten how to live. Let's be gentle with that place. And B writes, in Belgium, we're getting out slowly to normal life, and it scares me more than the lockdown. I'm with you there. I'm with you there. And David writes, I'm feeling at peace with the realization that this isn't going to change soon. All right. Yes, yes, yes. Worried about the future. Feeling more settled, worried about the future. Sure, that all makes so much sense. And I just want to say that when we're in touch with how it is for us, like, you might notice that I have a similar reaction when people write in the chat something quote unquote positive, like I'm feeling calm, and people quote unquote challenging or stressful, like I'm worried. I have a similar reaction to both. Because for me, being in contact with how we are carries life forward. There isn't really a positive or a negative when it comes to feelings. When we're in touch with how we feel, when we're able to acknowledge how we feel, life can step forward from there. And that's why I have this funny reaction of saying, oh, good, when somebody tells me something difficult. You might think that's kind of strange. Carolyn writes, I'm struggling to get things done with no structure and no one standing over me. Ah, yes. So that's a new kind of challenge that we may not have had to face before. Yeah. Very good. Wow. And Helen writes, I'm enjoying simplifying my life. Me too. It's much simpler to just be at home and have everything nearby. Just a few feet to walk in order to get everything I need, except for my weekly adventure, the trip to the grocery store. And I think that I'm probably going to let go of my office, even when it would be okay to go there again. So we can probably start to imagine that some changes is not going to be a return to completely the way it was, and that might be, some of that might be our choice. Yeah. So people are writing in the chat about things that are scary, like the flu season. People are now talking about the fall, the winter, the flu season, and the confluence of flu and COVID-19, and warning about that time. And what do we do when we hear things that we can do very little to prevent or avoid? Well, what I'd suggest is that we acknowledge our own feeling states, and that acknowledging is remarkably calming. I'd like you to experiment with that with me. I've got a little question I want to ask you today, and that is, what are you sick of? I've been at this for about 9 weeks. Is there something that you feel just sick of? I'm sick and tired of it. That's what I mean. Not sick like ill, but done with it, bored with it, sick and tired of it. Is there something like that? Maybe there isn't. I'm sick and tired of standing in line for an hour to buy groceries. That's gotten old. I can enjoy it. I can listen to a podcast while I'm standing 6 feet behind the person in front and waiting for that hour in the morning to get in at senior hour. But it's definitely gotten old. So what am I going to do, right? So we identify something we're sick of. And oh yeah, people are writing in the chat, sick of not being able to get out and do backpacking, sick of having to wear a mask on the hiking trails, sick of unprogramming. That's interesting. I don't quite know what that means. Ula, you didn't read this one because she didn't send it to all attendees, but I'll read it. I learned a part of me loves trying new things, and eventually everything gets old. That's a nice perspective. Yes. Oh, Carol writes, I'm sick of not getting any hugs. Yeah, some of us aren't getting any hugs. Luckily, I live with a sweetie, so I get hugs from one person. That's so much better than none. Yeah. Okay, people are writing such nice things about what you're sick of. I love it. Somebody's not doing any grocery shopping. Yeah. And okay, so now what are we going to do with this feeling of being sick of something? We're going to say, I am sensing something in me is really sick of that. Okay, so this is the language of acknowledging. I am sensing something in me is really sick of that. Now, when we do that, we're not belittling the feeling. We're not saying, oh, it's just something in me. We're saying, something in me is really sick of that. So we get to have the full force of the feeling. We're not telling it to feel any less than it does. Something in me is really sick of standing in the grocery line. And I'm saying hello to that. So give that a try, okay? Some of you were doing it already. I can read that the something in you in your chats, but try that. Try that. I'm sensing something in me is really sick of not getting any hugs, and I'm saying hello to that. And hello doesn't mean it should go away. Hello doesn't mean you hate it, doesn't mean you love it. Hello is simply hello. So this is acknowledging. Give that a try. And amazingly, something happens when we acknowledge. And I invite you to notice what that is. When I say something in me is really sick of, and I'm saying hello to that, something happens. Now, I'm not saying what it is that happens, right? For some people, it gets stronger. Yes. Okay, we'll give it another acknowledgement then. Yeah, I really, really hear how strong you are. It's like if you hadn't been acknowledging it, if it had sort of been a little nagging feeling at the corner of your mind. There aren't any hugs. Okay, there aren't any hugs. I don't know. I really, actually really miss hugs. Woo! The feeling may feel like it's strengthening, but actually what's happening is it's getting to be as big as it actually is. And then it gets to be acknowledged as big as it actually is. What else did you notice when you did acknowledging? And saying hello. Sometimes there's a little easing, a little release, like, oh, good. And almost like that one, the one in you that's sick of it, the something in you that's sick of it, says, thank you for noticing me. Okay, Devorah writes, it got smaller. Susan writes, another feeling comes up. I'm not sure how to say your name, Cleothna, something like that. What I initially thought I was sick of turned into something else I was sick of. So that's one thing that happens when we acknowledge. We feel a shift, but the shift is, it's not so much that, it's actually this. But this is a kind of forward living. When it's like going down through layers, or it's like something that really needed attention was sort of behind that one. Yeah, very nice. Jane writes, tears come to the surface. And tears are a blessing. Tears mean that we're touching something important. So we love our tears. And Jan writes, I feel more heaviness and more relaxation and ease. There you go. And Carol writes, acknowledging missing hugs brought up feelings of aloneness. Okay. So then, right, so you know then that the next thing that gets brought up, you do the same thing with. I'm acknowledging feelings of aloneness. I say hello to that. Another thing you can do in addition to I say hello to that is say to the feeling, I'm here with you. I've got feelings of aloneness, and I'm saying to the feelings of aloneness, I'm here with you. Now, what's radical about this is that we're not trying to make the feelings change. You know, in the family I grew up in, and I love my mother, I loved her so much, but there was something that she did that I realized later wasn't the most helpful thing, that she would always try to change my feelings by giving me another way to look at things. It was always in the positive direction. She was a very look at the positive side kind of person. So my mother would have said, oh, you have feelings of aloneness. Well, you like being alone, right? Or, well, actually, you have a lot of friends. So does anybody ever do that? Do you ever do that to yourself? When you find a feeling, you try to see the other side. Let's not do that to ourselves. Because actually, you know, those things are said probably with the best of intentions, but they actually interrupt the process of forward living. That is, when we feel what we feel, when we acknowledge it, the next thing can come. And that's what life is. Life is. Look out, look at nature. Life is the next thing coming, the next right thing coming. So when we say hello to how we feel, the next thing can come. When we say to how we feel, oh, it's not so bad, you don't have to feel that way, that interrupts that process of the next thing coming. Yay. Let me see what people are writing. Lily wrote, something in me wants to fix and help and heal my feelings. Good. Exactly. So when I feel feelings of aloneness and I want to tell myself how many friends I actually have, that's another something. So something in me feels alone, something in me wants to fix it. Well, who am I? I am not either one of those. I am the one who can say hello to both. I am the one who's sensing, who's noticing, who's acknowledging. We call that being self in presence, but that's a technical term. It's not really important. The idea, though, is that every time you say hello or acknowledge something you're aware of, you get bigger. And the you that's bigger has more resilience, has more ability to respond appropriately to current events. So all of this is really, oh, Dinah writes, when anyone tries to talk me out of my feelings, I feel unseen and alone. And then you would say, something in me feels unseen and alone. Ah, yes. And Rachel writes, hard feelings need to be acknowledged and turned towards. That's right. That's right. Good. Good. I'm so glad you're finding this helpful. Great. Great. Yeah. Yeah. So Amy writes, it's scary when I continue to acknowledge my feelings, but they remain intense. Yeah. And my grief and sadness almost feel like they've intensified instead of having moved forward. And Amy, I know you lost somebody really important to you died recently. That kind of grief, we can't expect that to shift in any time frame. So make sure you've also said hello to something in you that's worried it's not shifting. This is also a tip that has to do with physical pain. And I know when I talk about sensing the body, for some people, the body, getting in touch with your body means getting in touch with pain and discomfort. And I do acknowledge that. And it also helps to know that when we feel pain in the body, simply sensing it has some benefit. And then we may notice that parts of us arise that say, what's wrong? What if it stays bad? What if it gets worse? And I can't bear it. And those also need a hello. And then it's possible to settle down more calmly with what is. Let's see. Yes, Allison writes, do we need to stay still when saying hello to our feelings, or is it something we can do when on the move? Oh gosh, yes, you can do it. Yeah. You could be taking a walk, say hello to feelings. You could be doing your yoga stretches, say hello to feelings. You could even be in the midst of a conversation with somebody and notice that something that got said touched a place in you, set off a place in you, and just silently, without them even knowing, you can be inwardly saying hello to the place that took a hit there. That's something you can do. Doesn't take a moment. You can do it all day long. Yeah. Lily asks, what about the emotional pain? Not just physical pain. Yes. Yeah. All pain benefits from our presence. Our non-judgmental presence, a kind of presence that doesn't try to change it. And I do respect that certain kinds of physical pain also need us to put our attention on something else for a while. And that might be true of emotional pain too. Like, that's enough. I'm going to go work a crossword puzzle. That's something you can sense in yourself as well. When the rightness, when it's been enough of sensing inwardly, now it's time to do something else, go take a walk, do a puzzle. Yes. Oh, Jan says, I tried this practice this morning with tightness in my shoulders and it dramatically released. Wow. That's so nice. Well, just to review, here's what we've been talking about today. One is that you get to pause, ground, center, resource yourself. And one way to resource yourself is with nature. So even looking out the window or remembering a walk you took, a hike, gives you something. The second thing we noticed is that difficult feelings, challenging feelings, stressful feelings really benefit from being acknowledged. And we use this form to acknowledge, I'm sensing something in me feels. And that we do that with the simplicity of not trying to change things. Like saying to somebody, I really hear how hard that is. Saying to the feelings, I really sense how you are. And I am here with you. It's been so lovely being with you today. Thank you so much. Thank you for responding to each other in the chat, and everybody who's been here has contributed. There's been 100 people today in this webinar, and I'm so happy to be with you now. Take care. Bye for now. Yay. Have a good week. See you next week.